Now we'll turn to the nub of the matter here. What is the best aim point? And what I'd like you to do is, just for our interest, enter into the chat what you think is the best aim point based on everything I've said so far, and the choices, and just put A, B, C, or D in the chat, and we'll accumulate some of these results and see what they have said. A is aiming directly at the hole. B is aiming at the fat part of the green, where you would have a longer putt, but are less likely to go into the hazard. C is aiming just short and left of the green. And D is aiming just left of the hole. Why don't you quickly, I'll give you 15 seconds or so to put whatever you might think would be the best aim point in the chat. And just to clarify again, I'm talking about where you're aiming the center of your shot dispersion pattern. That would be the median on both dimensions, understanding that you've got a shot dispersion pattern that you may be visualizing around that. Okay, well, let's proceed. It turns out that the best aim point here is point D, 3 yards left, 1 yard long of the target. That's interesting because one would think that one might think that one of the other more conservative plays would be better, or you might think that playing aggressive, such as right at the hole, would be better, but actually it's not. If you look at the information I'm displaying on the right here, aiming at this point D with the center of your shot dispersion pattern is about 2 strokes better on average per 18-hole round than aiming at the hole or at either of these other locations. Most golf tournaments are won or lost by far less than 2 strokes around. This is with no change in physical capability. So this is just thinking better, aiming better. The reason for this, by the way, is for a good golfer, you give up too many birdie opportunities if you aim up here or down here. You're in the hazard too much if you aim directly at the hole. It's better to bias your aim a little bit left of the hole, where you can still make a lot of birdies. All of this can be done easily in an Excel spreadsheet, as you can see here. All these equations are so simple. The whole multivariate distribution analysis can be boiled down to a simple data table here that shows the difference between aiming at the hole and aiming anywhere else, such as this at this point D in terms of expected strokes to hole out. Before I leave this slide, let's take a look and see how the result of this analysis, the best aim point being D, compares with the intuition of the people participating in this webinar. Specifically, many of you provided in the chat your intuitive estimate of the best aim point by voting either for A, B, C, or D. The result of those votes is as follows. About 41% of you voted in favor of B being the best aim point, that is the fat part of the green. The second most popular is actually what I believe is the correct answer, D. About a third of you voted for D. About 20% voted for C, just short and left of the green, and just a few of you voted for A, aiming directly at the hole. So this is interesting in the sense that for about 2/3 of the participants on this call, the analysis would presumably help aid your intuition by helping you make a better decision toward D, in contrast to what you would have thought otherwise based on intuition was the best aim point. I had one of the older golfers who is one of my peers on the golf team at Stanford say to me the other day, well, I don't think in terms of these aim point patterns, but I think I bias my aim point instinctively a bit. And of course, that based on years and years of experience, a golfer learns to do that. But what we're talking about here is how to learn to do that, in a webinar or with some additional thought.